Hello everyone, it is Briximus Prime, finally back for another video. Sorry about the delay, guys. I was having a bit of a LEGO convention and a bunch of other stuff in my personal life going on, but hey, I'm back again with another review. I'm talking about the Velocitron Speedia 500 Transformers Legacy Override and Scourge. I originally had this video planned where I was going to make it a threesome review between the Scourge, the Override, and the Cosmos, but with the Cosmos figure being absolutely unattainable, I'm just going to have to do this review with the two of them instead of the three. So anyway, let's just get right on into the review by starting with that packaging. And taking a look at the packaging right up front here, as you guys can see, they've got the packaging with their image right here. I love the artwork of Override right there, Speedia 500 Legacy Override, Transformers. It's got that Velocitron logo right there from the Unicron Trilogy, which, speaking of, this character is from the Unicron Trilogy. Very nice looking. Again, love the artwork. There's the product shots. That's it for her box. Here on Scourge, it's got his nice Nemesis Prime artwork right there, and it's got his name, only except right here it says Robots in Disguise 2000, even though it was 2001. Who knew? But anyway, there's that image right there, another image of him right there, some product shots and such that we'll be covering in this review. So anyway, that is it for this. And now taking a look at the accessories that come with these two. Yes, I'm counting Scourge's trailer as an accessory. First, taking a look at Override's only accessory. It's this little gun piece that forms a part of her engine, and basically on the old toy, you slid the little Cybertronian key in there, and it had the guns flip out, but because they don't really do that gimmick anymore, you have to manually flip them out. But there you go. It's this double-barreled blaster that you can give to Override. And obviously you can have it folded up, and you can store it. Tab her gun right there for storage. Scourge comes with this sword. Same one included with that one, only except it's cast in this like dark hot pink plastic, which looks pretty good. Has a very dark energon, or even just regular G1 energon kind of look to it. And then he's got this little shield, which can also have this little handle flip out, and it can turn into an axe, I guess. And then these two can combine together, which doesn't look all that great. I don't really like how that looks, but it is something that you can do. And then he also comes with a tainted matrix of leadership cast in that same pinkish plastic. Very nice looking, and obviously this can go right over here into the matrix chamber. And now taking a look at the trailer here. The trailer here is done in this nice silver plastic, and I love all the mechanical detailing that goes all throughout it, actually making it look quite realistic to an actual oil tanker, which also, I should mention, also has this little kickstand right here due to transformation, so it can sit like that. And so yeah, I'll just quickly transform this and we'll just cover that. And here's taking a look at the trailer transformed into its base mode. I mean, it looks pretty cool on its own. The main thing I like is this little tower here. I like how it's got the little mechanical arm, kind of reminiscent of the repair station on the G1 Optimus Prime. The actual tower can rotate, as well as the little turret up at the top. It can also rotate downward due to transformation. But honestly, I don't really have much use for this, even though I like the turret. You can store all of the accessories onto this mode, but first obviously you have to flip this part in. But basically it can fit all of Scourge's accessories in there, minus the matrix of leadership, of course. And here is taking a look at Override, and yeah, I'm gonna say it right now. I think this is Hasbro's best female Transformer they've made so far. So if you really want me to really care about a female figure, do it right. This is probably the most anticipated female Transformer figure I have been anticipating ever. And that's not a problem that I have with Transformers. I'm not, like, sexist or anything. It's just every time Hasbro makes female Transformers, they keep making all the female figures have so much back kibble and, like, all this bull. But that being said, I love how Override turns out, how she turned out. And by the way, you can store the little backpack piece back there, and that makes the vehicle mode look a lot more complete. And again, I love this car mode. I love the curves. I love the bright, vibrant white and red. And yes, as of right now, so far, my white plastic doesn't show any signs of yellowing. I hope this is one of those figures that's in the later production line where Hasbro fixed the whole yellowing issue. I like the clear red tires down here with the gold rims. And again, I love that cockpit. Her head is kind of poking up right there, but that is accurate to the original toy. And then those tiny little highlights of blue really bring out a lot for this figure. I really do like the way she looks, especially in the mode. And also, since the gun attaches here on the back, you can use these little ports back here, and I think 2 more right here, so you can plug in blast effects and really make her look like she's zooming off. And yeah, she also rolls really well for it being a Velocitron line with characters centered around their vehicles. The vehicle mode should obviously be really good, and it is. But not just that, her transformation is also very intuitive, and I really like it. But first, let's get into the comparisons. Here she is with the last Nemesis Prime I reviewed on the channel, the Netflix one. And then here she is with the last Transformers Legacy figure I reviewed, the Transformers Legacy Motormaster. So anyway, that's it for comparisons. And then before we get into Override's transformation, I'm going to go over Scourge first. So Scourge here is very nicely done. I like the highlights of the metallic blue. That hot pink and the black really brings out the figure and really makes it pop. Like, I must say, I really do like the way how the design came out, especially in figure form. This is a very, very heavy retool of the Earthrise Optimus Prime, which is a very heavy retool of the Siege Optimus Prime. So there's a lot of just retooling and reworking that Hasbro has gone through, and it's evolved into this. And I really like it. I like how he looks. He's a nice big rig. He can have his trailer connected right there. And then he does roll pretty well, I'd say. And yeah, there's really nothing much else to say about the rig other than just that it's black. It's a black repaint, so it's immediately awesome. Gosh dang it, Hasbro. And then here is the Nemesis Prime / Scourge, compared next to the last Evil Optimus I also reviewed, the Netflix Nemesis Prime. And then here he is with the last Transformers Legacy review that I did, Commander Class Motormaster, who also happens to be a black rig with a trailer. Now let's get right on into these two figures' transformations. And here is taking a look at Override in her robot mode. And I do admit, this is a really pretty figure. And I'm not just saying that in the sense that the actual female face is pretty. I'm saying like the paintwork, the sculpting, everything about it makes sense and is really well done. One thing that doesn't make sense, though, is that she has red light piping on the back of her head, and then they painted over her eyes in blue anyway? Why couldn't you have just given her blue light piping? I mean, I guess it would have distracted from the rest of the red, but like, still, it already cuts off from the white, so why didn't you just go all in and do blue light piping? Just doesn't make sense to me. But again, I love the bright red and white look, really pops out at you, and it's complemented well by these accents of blue and all this nice trimming of gold. I really love how Override came out, especially for the Voyager size that she is. This definitely is a downgrade from, at least in terms of size, when it comes to the figure. I mean, this is a smaller figure than it was back in the day. I mean, those Voyagers were like liter-sized, and Deluxes were like Voyager size, which is how big she is. And then, so on and so forth. So she definitely is a bit of a downgrade when it comes to sizing, but she's definitely not a downgrade when it comes to her engineering, which also I really love the actual design. Again, I love how all the car parts carry over consistently with all the smooth curves and all the different bits of detail that I really liked, like the wheels and the bits of gold. So anyway, I really do like her. So going over the posability, her head can rotate a full 360, though her chin guard does tend to nudge into her shoulders a little bit. Her shoulders can rotate a full 360. They can move in and out. She does get a bicep swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, wrist swivel, which I'm surprised to see. She does have a fairly limited waist swivel, and maybe you can untab this or hinge this somewhere to give her a little bit more waist, but obviously it's not too much. Hips can kick forward, they can kick back that far, they can move outward very far. Thigh swivel, bend at the knee, which bends over 90 degrees due to transformation. And then the ankles can move up and down a little bit, and they can pivot from side to side ever so slightly. So the only area she really feels limited in is her waist and ankles, but other than that, really love how she came out. And here is taking a look at Scourge's head sculpt. It's kind of hard to capture on camera, especially with the light, with his big-ass shoulder pads in the way. But overall, I think his head looks very well done. It's pretty spot on to that original Optimus. I mean, it is just reused from it. Only except he does actually feature some light piping. I'm not quite sure if you can catch that, but he does have some light piping there in his eyes. And that was something the original Laser Prime didn't have, so very nice upgrade. And yeah, the paintwork and everything with the black and blue, it looks really good, especially with the hot pink. Again, makes it look like he's kind of energized and ready for battle. And speaking of ready for battle, he does have these big laser shoulder cannons right there on the big shoulders. And they're not just laser cannons with 5mm ports. They can also swing open, and they feature these sculpted in missiles. Sadly, these don't actually shoot, which obviously that's probably because they wanted to budget out gimmicks, which they probably could have easily thrown in some kind of gimmick that made these launch, but honestly, I'd rather have them like this. But very nice little feature. And one little nice touch that I really love is how they even gave him the upside down G2 Autobot logos, just like the character did in the animation. And then, again, the chest looks fine, and he's got the grill on the chest, and all the paintwork and everything looks pretty good with the grays and on the shins. Only, I feel like this guy's proportions are a little bit more anime-esque. I feel like his torso is a little bit smaller with much longer limbs. Just makes him look a little bit more anime-esque, I guess. Like anime proportions, if that makes sense. His back kibble is managed pretty well, I'd say. I mean, it's just the roof of the rig sitting on the back. And I guess these shoulder pads are kibble, but those are more consistent. But overall, I don't think it is a bad figure. Going over his posability, the head is on a ball joint, and this panel tends to untab, but the ball joint allows it to swivel from side to side. He can look up and down a little bit. He can pivot and rotate. Shoulders can move in and out. The shoulder pads can shift around. This panel moves forward, so the arm can move forward. They can move back. He does have a bicep swivel. 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrist swivel. He does also feature a waist swivel. Hips can kick forward. They can kick back. They can move outward that far. He does get a tight thigh swivel. Over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, which is always appreciated. And then his toes can shift around, and he has deep ankle pivot. So, very good, bare minimum articulation. Well, not necessarily bare minimum, but I really wish that his shoulders would have had more range, especially with these shoulder pads kind of getting in the way sometimes. You could hinge this double hinge joint right here and try to shift them even more, but it's mostly for transformation. It doesn't really work out all that well. Now that they're in robot mode and not in vehicle mode, I have a little more room so I can do them together for the comparisons. Here they are with the last Nemesis Prime I reviewed in his robot mode. And then here they are with my last Transformers Legacy review. Here they are with the Legacy Motormaster. And that is basically it for my double review on the Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Scourge and Override. Overall, this is a very, very nice set of figures. The Override came out amazing, especially with it being an entirely new mold just for Legacy and an exclusive. That can be problems for a lot of people, especially with some figures in particular. But I don't think it's that big an issue for the Scourge. The Scourge is a perfect repaint for this exact wave, especially especially a repaint that has been highly anticipated since that Laser Prime was revealed. But, so if I had to give these figures individual ratings, I give the Scourge a very solid 8 out of 10. It didn't over the top amaze me, but I still think it is really, really awesome, especially in its colors and design. The engineering is just a little bit lacking. And then the Override, again, the engineering is a little bit lacking, but not enough as much as the Scourge was. It's mostly the Scourge's shoulders that are kind of holding him back because they're a little bit too big for his own good. Override, I think she's just fine as is. I just would have liked maybe just so that her ankle pivot or waist swivel weren't so limited, but I still really like her, so I give her a solid 9 out of 10. So anyway, that's basically it for this review. If you guys enjoyed the review, be sure to give me a like on the video. Comment down below what you guys think. Again, apologies for the delayed reviews and such. But anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Briximus Prime, and I'll catch you guys next time.